Welcome back to the Decode Podcast booth here in Anaheim at Global Electronics Association Apex 2026. We are joined by a guest who truly needs no introduction.
The legend.
The legend, Mr. Gene Weiner. Thanks for coming on. It's been cool hanging with you already this week. We found you on the side of the road hitchhiking on the way to a party last night.
You guys are everywhere, so I figured I'd come and talk to you here where I could sit down instead of standing up running around the aisles after you.
Yeah, well, I wanted to first say congratulations. We watched you receive a kind of Lifetime Achievement Award for 70 years in the industry. Is that true?
It's almost true. To be 70 years in July. I started in July 1956 while I was at Tufts University as a student technician working at MIT Lincoln Labs, where I built my first printed circuit. But this award thing, that's kind of crazy. You get all these awards, and I go home and I have dinner, and you get your back to earth thing in a hurry. Your wife says, "Don't forget to take out the trash." There you are again. Back to reality.
We're all about 24 hours away from that experience, right?
Yeah. Gene, what impresses me most about you is that you have this long, illustrious career, but you don't live 70 years ago. You're very much up to speed with not only what's happening now, but what's going to be happening 2, 3, 5 years down the road.
Case in point.
Well, first of all, you got to understand something. I'm really a young guy hiding in an old body. And I like to look at new things and try new things and say, well, never mind dreaming. How do you make this real? How do you bring this to commercial viability? And to do that, you got to be talking with young people that are trying things. And the best way to help them, if you know how to solve a problem and where they're going, is to keep asking them questions to try and point them in the right direction so they find a solution themselves. And if after 100 million times they don't get the message, you say, well, what would happen if you tried this? Oh, then the light goes off and they go forward. But it's important. We have to continue to engage young people, to inquire, to find out, all these great ideas. I used to look at 100 products to find 10 that looked like they have commercial viability, to find 3 that really could make it. How do you weed them out ahead and focus and back the guys that have something that works? And I love doing that. I love that, asking the questions and helping these people do that. I did a lot of stuff. I did hands-on R&D. I made boards. I assembled them. I did tech service and all that. But the greatest fun was in asking questions to the young people that are trying to solve a problem and then helping point them to the direction. And then you go on to the next group. But right now, I think everything you look at, due to the ultra-high density thing, the concentration, the infrastructure, the things that have to be built, with the AI server boards, everything is condensing, getting more expensive. Costs are going up, but now suddenly there's a lot of unexpected happenings. I'll bet you can't guess what I'm thinking of. Let's say you're a supplier. You're an intermediate, and you're providing laminate or gold plating solution or dry film photoresist or solder paste. And you give a customer credit for 10 units. $10,000. And the products you're serving him, laminate or whatever, either go on allocation or go up 30%. That lowers his credit line with you, lowers his ability to buy 30%, but he's still trying to produce 100%. Do you extend credit to the guy, or do you give him less if he needs more? Do you slow down his productivity? This is something nobody's talking about. This
nobody's talking about it, but it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, they're talking about laminate. They're talking about gold. They're talking about not enough boards. They're not talking about the everyday effect of the everyday shop that's got a budget and a credit line that can't buy what he needs.
Well, that's why, like in board fab, we always partnered with laminate material suppliers that gave us consignment pricing. So we're going to ship you it all in. And then whatever the market is what you're going to pay as you use it, right? Which really helped us out in that time because we got inventory there and we weren't billed because we just couldn't afford it, I remember there was a time in 2017 I couldn't afford a $350 roll of laminate, and I had to shut new production down 2 weeks until I could pay my outstanding bills for the developer and all the other chemicals that I bought from that company, you know. So having options like that where they could, you know, extend terms or help us out right in those meantimes, because if I'm not building new product, I'm not going to be shipping new product, which means no revenues coming in, you know. So it was always trying to find relationships like that. But
How many materials though do you think you guys buy in order to build circuit, you know, in order to assemble circuit boards? How many different vendors and suppliers do you have?
Really, we only had about 3 or...
Now, I mean.
What do you mean?
Do you buy all of your components from one person, from one location? Do you buy all of your consumables from one person? Do you buy, so I'm the big effect that Gene's talking about here, right, is you found in your past life that consignment helped you. What I'm getting at is, well, are you going to be able to get that same kind of setup for the 100 suppliers you need that you're working with now to be able to build this? Like, how does a CM navigate these waters, right, when the cost of everything has gone up drastically like that?
It's a very difficult situation. For example, 4 days ago, Kingboard announced they're going to put in 11 furnaces for over $400 million to make their own glass fiber, you know, T-glass and Q-glass, because of the shortage for the server boards and infrastructure. Meanwhile, everybody's trying to scramble to catch up. Then other major laminate companies talk about major investments in new facilities in Thailand, new facilities here and there. But that's going to take 2 years, 3 years to come on board. So we see delivery of ordinary FR4, for example, in some cases go from a week or two to 10 or 12 weeks. In this past week,
Wow.
I've seen 4 price increases in the last few months. One of them was 30% for FR4. Then we have Rogers telling their customers they can't get a raw material to make polyimide. They're trying to qualify a new one. So what's left? There's Alon and the Ventec, but they're not on the prints. The military prints are, they say Rogers. And if Rogers can't get that raw material in and qualified fast enough, what happens to aerospace and defense? But another way to help people, I look at all that, I look at all these things here. How can we help guys like you or the smaller guys that don't have the time or the money to travel around the world to the great show in Taiwan, a great GPCA show, or this large event, this wonderful event? So I put together a managers forum for April 28th. What are we going to do there?
You did?
Yes.
Oh.
And on April 28th, we're going to have a managers forum. We're going to have one company that talks about the component thing. You've heard about it. They're exhibiting here. Luminovo talked about AI helps there and how they help the smaller company. We're going to have a top-tier aerospace military supplier, the general manager of Amphenol PCB, as the speaker will say, hey guys, here's what we're looking at. We're going to have a guy that's an officer of that new plant we've heard in Lithuania, $100 million. They're going to spend another $40 million. They're not done yet. Talk about how AI affects all this and what's going on here.
The TLT factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
He's going to be one of my speakers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I met with him here yesterday.
So it was a 200,
He
300,000?
told us.
200, 300,000 square foot building he built? 300 square
Pardon?
thousand square feet?
How much?
200,000 square feet building? Sorry.
Yeah, it's owned by a family, by the way.
Wow.
It's the one family it's owned. But anyhow, that's not what we're talking about. We're going to have Sean Patterson. You heard of him?
Yeah, we had him on.
Once or twice.
Sean's got an hour. He's going to be my keynote. And he's going to give a live demonstration on solving problems and how to use AI. No, AI can be as bad for you as good if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw what I did on LinkedIn. People were saying, I try to do a caricature. I try to do that. Well, I'm not an expert. I said, look, why don't you tell me? I said, first of all, you're doing the wrong thing. What instructions do you get? Look, do a caricature. I said, you can't do that. I said, well, let's use Open GPT, JetGPT. None of the fancy stuff with Claude at all. Give it instructions. Make a caricature of me. Use only images that are available on the public domain. Use only data or information in the public domain. Do not use anything that's not verifiable or fact. Go. It took me 30 seconds
This is exactly what he led in with, right? Like it's not just you don't just know the old stuff. Like you're actively learning the new.
It's not back in my day. It's
my
right
dad
now.
wouldn't have no clue how to do what you just did.
I mean, and to
We're
be
doing
fair,
one more
there's
thing.
dudes our age that have no clue what to do.
Good
We're
point.
going to do one more thing for this. You can't be all go, go, go. We have Mass Robotics, which is the trade association for robotics, the largest in the United States. They're providing a speaker on humanoid robotics. And I got to this by watching the show from China, where they had 7 humanoid robotics go through a kung fu thing, including backflips and everything, in unison. Well, this guy's been with us for 10 years. He was with Boston Dynamics, which makes humanoid robotics. The guy's in Texas on the West Coast. So he's going to be my middle guy to kind of break it up, talk about AI and robotics. But then we get back to the serious problem about supply and demand. The former president of the EIPC for 10 years is going to speak. Alan Morgan will be my wrap-up speaker. So then we're going to have a panel with everybody except for Sean, because Sean he's going to be busy afterwards with. And at that panel, we're going to have all the speakers. And Peter Bigelow, my vice chairman, former president of FTG East, for technology, major company, will run the panel. So we'll look, and then we're going to have lunch with all the other people there, a lunch and learn session at a buffet there. So it's going to be a great day. We're going to bring the show to the people that can't travel, and it's going to real down to earth help guys like you and you and you, I hope.
You've curated quite the lineup there.
Yeah, well, I started in November, and I wrapped up the robotic thing last week.
I wanted to ask you, Gene, because we discussed how you definitely stay contemporary. You're up on what's happening now, but your history in the industry affords you a unique perspective. Have you seen times like this before? Is this?
No, this is not like the dot-com. This is different. This is real. The world is in chaos. We got government after government to set up to do advanced packaging and create the energy required to run these data centers is different. It takes a tremendous amount of volume. It's going to take 3 to 5 years to balance things out. For the next 2 years is going to be tough for the people building. There's not enough power. The President of the United States says, okay, companies, you want to run a data center, build your own power plant. Thank God it won't black out a lot of small towns. But that's going to put another demand on the high-tech materials and on building it. It takes a couple of years. We're going to get the equipment to build the factories, to fabricate. My God, that's already backlogged for a year in some cases. So you get a backlog in the building of the equipment. Then you say, okay, the equipment either comes, the good stuff, either from Europe or China at the moment. And there are people here say, no, you can't buy China. Or then you can't go to business. Where are you going to train the people? How are you going to train the people? Well, that's where AI comes in. You're going to have to use AI a lot on the training, testing, programming, software reevaluating. So I look at it, and I spoke to Matt Kelly about this, CTO of the Global Association, and he agreed, we're doing all this top-down thing, but you got to think of the bottom-up thing. And I said, Matt, how long are you thinking for the system, the silicon system thing? He said 5 years. I said, that's about right. I think it'll take 5 years for this thing to clear and get where it's going. 2 years are going to be tough for all of us.
Well, if you say it's unprecedented, I'm going to believe you.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy the other day that literally bought land that's got high power tension lines above him to try to sell it to, to the data center, right? Like, because it's there, and they need X amount, but it's got to be, what is the surrounding around it, right? What else is drawing from those lines? There's got to be capacity there, and it's not everywhere in the world.
It is not. It is not. And right now, the mess that's going on with the petrochemical, for example, one of the Asian companies, we look at epoxy. One of the precursors to epoxy is called ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide comes from oil. So one of the major laminate makers in China is now going into making ethylene oxide from oil then to make their own epoxy. This is unheard of in our industry. Unheard of. But we're the smaller guys. We have to go with it. We have to support them. We still have to take care of our business. So we have to somehow build alliances and not plan B, but what happens when plan B fails? What's your plan C?
Well, what's I always liked about you the most is kind of like your enthusiasm for the Printed Circuit Board Association of America, because people don't realize, and you mentioned it a little bit, Europe, China, right? The manufacturing side of the USA is so slim pickings, especially when it comes to the raw material side of it. To take, I mean, the copper that we would get in, it's not mined in North Dakota. It's going to be mined in Chile or China, right? And then they're going to take that and then make the laminate out of that. So we are so far behind. Like, all right, let's say you get this beautiful laminate factory in America. You don't have the copper coming in raw. It's got to be formed somewhere.
We have the mines, but we don't use it. Number one. Number two, Nanya, one of the major producers, has announced a huge expansion on making copper foil. Camden Electronics, which was rescued from the Japanese, is increasing production. But I called up and I said, how many tons for batteries and what percent for printed circuits? Well, we can't tell you, but batteries are substantial. So not all the foil being produced is going to printed circuits. So the price of copper is going to go like this.
Yeah, because people don't realize when they get this stacking between each other, right?
Everything's interconnected.
It's right, and it's all copper. It starts off with the whole
and a lot of it is education, continuing to educate. PCBAA, Printed Circuit Board Association of America, will introduce a film in Capitol Hill next week. You're going to that. We're hoping it gets a lot of attraction. Eat the dessert. You can use some weight gain there. There will be a dessert afterwards.
I'm trying, buddy. I'm trying.
I keep trying to give him some of mine. He won't
You
take
can vouch for me. I eat terrible. I eat a ton of food.
I know. I could see it from year by year. I see it. You know, slow down and take care of your kids a little more. But that's going to be a good thing. We got some senators coming on board now. But the issue is the lack of education in a lot of the people in our government in D.C. We spoke to a member of the House of Representatives. What is your program? You know, you understand all this and that. And the staff is to blame, too. They have all these kids around them. They said, social justice. I said, well, how are you going to communicate with them if your phones don't work? Well, what are you talking about? Well, we haven't passed the CHIP Act. I said, what does that good do? I said, look, electronics today, $6 trillion business worldwide, we're all depending upon. $6 trillion.
That's with a T.
With a T, not a B or an F. And you look at that, and you want to talk to your staff. What makes it work? Well, there's a circuit in there. Well, we passed the CHIP Act. Let me tell you something. Chips don't float. Without the circuit board, they don't work. And another thing, you can put the chips on the circuit board, it still won't work. You need the software. But what brings them all together and connects them to the outside world and makes your life work is the printed circuit board. And hopefully this is the traction we'll gain with that film and start a movement. But we still have people and their staffs in D.C. that don't understand this. They're too busy with whatever they're doing. And the Department of Commerce is not much better. Thank God for the Department of War, the Air Force, and the others that are still spending and working on these things. And companies like Raytheon, Mercury Systems, Convair, Martin Marietta, Lockheed.
And when you understand it, it's almost impossible to ignore, right? I mean, there's the national defense aspect of it, but even just quality of life, like you said, right? I mean, your microwave, your refrigerator, there's circuit boards in everything now.
Your washing machine.
Yeah.
We had a washing machine fail a couple of years ago, and the service guy came in, he says it's going to cost $100-something to repair. And I looked at the card, and it's a cheap two-sided board, and it looked like, I won't say the word on TV. And I said, what? I said, I could build that board and assemble it for about $8.
He didn't know who he was messing with.
So I sent him packing. I said, I don't want the service going. I'm not paying. I contacted the company. I got a spare board made. I had reversed it. And it cost me $25. My machine was worth
That's
I
awesome.
removed all the components. I checked them. You know, it was all hand soldered with pin and hole. It wasn't even surface mount.
I have to ask you this. It's kind of off the wall. I only run across 2 or 3 people in the entire industry who don't say components. They say components. You, Phil Marcoux, and John Mitchell. Was it once upon a time that everybody said components instead of components?
Yeah, well, Phil and I sort of grew up together. He was one of my younger guys. I'm older than Phil, too. Actually, there was
spring
one man
chicken,
here.
Phil.
There were 2 men here this week in my age bracket. One of them was Clyde Combs, who will wrap up the next edition of the handbook and have it at McGraw-Hill by July 1st. Helping him a lot is Happy Holden, who unfortunately couldn't come here for health issues this week. And the other is my good friend Dr. Nakahara, who hasn't been to this event for 3 or 4 years, but who came to get the Dieter Bergman Award at lunch yesterday. And Naka's here running around. Naka's 88. He goes from here back home to pick up his wife to go tour Eastern France, back to Tokyo for his bachelor's degree class reunion, then back to PCB East to see you there.
It's incredible the pace you guys are keeping.
It's insane.
He's 88.
It's insane.
Well, Gene, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I know we all consider you a friend, and it's great seeing you here, and we just wish nothing but continued health for you. You haven't slowed down at all. I mean, you're in every single booth, every hall, every talk, and it's inspiring to see that you're doing this because it's just such a passion, and it's inspirational to say the least.
Thank you. It's a lifestyle, but I had a procedure last week. That's why I'm on the cart. And I had an angiogram called, and I had 3 blocks removed from my left leg. The doctor says, "Don't walk too much." He said, "Go slow." I said, "Don't worry, I know how to go fast."
We'll have to have producer Paul cut in a picture of your ride for the week parked in front of our booth. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Gene, and thank you all for tuning in.
And
Yes.
thank you, guys.
Thanks, Gene.
It's always a pleasure to see you, and hope you're greater than greater success every year. And you too, my friend there behind the camera.